What's going on, YouTube? This is Reaper, and I am back with another video. Alright, well, I just did a live stream, but it didn't seem to actually process, so I am going to do that entire video over in this segment. So, yeah, you guys got what you wanted. You guys did get an actual Call of Duty video, and you actually did get an actual, game footage video of me actually talking about this. So, I will try to reiterate everything I just said outside, but I do not know if I will catch everything, so we will see. But because I am actually still waking up from my 12-hour nap. So, yeah, so the fact that Xbox is gonna basically reverse direction and basically instead of having an actual gamer at the helm, we will have a casual female. I don't know how I feel about that personally. I knew this was coming a while ago. I just didn't know when they would actually take it into affection. So the fun factor is that I knew Phil was not going to be the entire savior for the entire generation Xbox brand. I just knew that he was there to basically put it back on course, and I knew he was there to basically rejuvenize the brand, which from where we were in 2013 to now, I got to admit he did do his job. He did do what he was told to do, and he did do what he said he was going to do. But now replacing him with a female that absolutely knows practically absolutely jack, absolutely BS about games in general and has only been playing games for about a month. She does have over 10,000 gamer score people. She is a Goku. She is over 9,000. But I got to admit that, having a woman still steer the ship is like basically, I agree with other creators that are saying that basically giving a casual female the actual CEO position was pretty much a very, very, uh, let's just say, stupid move for Satya Nadala's part. So I know Satya Nadella is an Indonesian. I know he Indian. I know he trusts women like the plague, but I don't trust women for shit, people. I'm sorry. I just don't. I think that if you give a female the actual reins to a male dominant actual, business, you're gonna flop, and you're gonna flop hard. I don't personally give a damn whether or not she's made money for the company in other areas before, which she has, and she does seem a very, very well intelligent human being. But I don't think she knows anything about the video game industry in general, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't know anything about us gamers as a community. So that's kind of my first worry. The other second worry I have is what is going to happen with the plans that are already in place by Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty. Now, we all know that Matt Booty is still remaining, so maybe Matt Booty will be the saving grace to this issue that we see in the next 5 years. We will see. But I do admit with everybody online that, she hasn't even begun her work yet. Do not judge her before the work is actually presented. I agree with that, but I do think that basically Satya Nadella is basically grasping at straws because before when he actually picked Phil and Phil did do his job, there wasn't anything really to complain about except for the fact that after they bought Activision Blizzard, Call of Duty flopped harder than ever before. So, he basically lost the money, and then Microsoft don't like that, people. So whenever you lose money and you're in a in charge position, you get basically booted. Is basically what happens. But we all knew Phil was gonna retire, a couple years ago. We just didn't know when his final day was going to be, and because of the fiasco on the media and stuff like that. We all know that that was going to be today. It was yesterday. So, and yesterday was Asha first day as CEO. But I got to admit that everybody on the internet is absolutely using this as a humongous, burn fire. They're using this as a humongous fuel engine. And now I guarantee you she will get a lot of hate But don't judge the human before the human does something wrong, I say. So overall, good luck to Phil Spencer in his retirement. Good luck to Phil Spencer in his happy, enjoyable, next stage of his life. But I got to admit that Xbox is in a dire place right now, and I got to admit I'm kind of curious what it's going to look like in the next 2 years. But I have hope. I have hope because if the girl knows how to make cash, everybody, that means that she's gonna direct Xbox in a profitable margin space of growth, which is gonna be kind of interesting to see where that comes from. But I do agree with most of the community that's saying they do not trust this girl because she has never played games. I agree, but when you put women in a state of power, all you're gonna get is absolute AI slop, right? So that's kind of what I personally think. But overall, I think that this is actually gonna get worse before it gets better, and whether or not they're gonna redirect certain changes to the actual core mentality of Xbox, we will see. I have a good bet that's probably what she's gonna do first. Is like she said, she was going to basically see what works and see what doesn't and get rid of the stuff that doesn't work. So we will see what that actually entails. But overall, I think that, this was bound to happen eventually. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. So overall, I think that's actually kind of a good thing because it's better to happen sooner rather than in the point of crisis that we are about to hit in 2027. So, the fact that she has a full year to basically get used to this role, we will see what she comes up with. But, don't judge the apple before you basically see it's poisoned, is basically kind of my point. So, but, as for the whole, Satya Nadella's choice of picking a girl rather than a guy, I think he's kind of crazy. And I think he's actually kind of very, 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 very delusional to see where that might actually lead because nowhere in my heart of hearts do I say that women are good for gaming. No, I do not. I do not say that whatsoever. So, if a woman is in charge of a man's hobby, yeah, that hobby is gonna sink. That hobby is gonna sink harder than anybody has ever actually seen it sink before, and I got to admit that's gonna be a very, very, very bad day for Xbox. But we will see whether that bad day actually turns into a positive light, but only time will tell. And that's kind of the fun factor that I wanted to point out to the community today. So, don't judge the book by its cover. See what it actually produces before you judge it. And let's just see where this, 36-year-old woman takes us. That's just kind of what I'm going to say. And keep in mind that that 36-year-old woman that's leading Xbox now is the same age as yours truly. So, that could have been a lot worse in another universe. So that is kind of my point. But overall, let's see what happens, people, and let's give the newbie a chance, shall we? So that's kind of my personal vocals. And like I said before, I do not trust women leadership in a man's hobby. But there has been times in the past where that has actually been proven false to think that way and to actually see that women can do as good a job as men. But we will see. But overall, let's see where Satya's new choice, leads the brand. Let's see where it actually comes either in fruits or in poisons. We will see. But I got to admit that we all knew this was going to happen back in 2020, back in the early 2020s. So, Phil has been talking about this change for a while. We just didn't know when it was actually going to take effect. And now we do. So that's kind of the important thing to remember. But, as for me, I'm stoked for the coming of the storm. I can't wait to see what everybody sees changed and what everybody sees actually stay the same. but I'm kind of curious how she's going to flux it in a positive direction. And I know a lot of people are too, so it's like we were all waiting with bated breath, basically. And overall, I think that, having fresh blood, new blood, is always a good change because we have been led by the same boomer and Gen X population genes for almost 25 years now. So to finally get some young blood is actually kind of a good change in my opinion. But it's only a good change if she brings good results. And that is kind of the hovering question up in the air right now. But overall, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I hope everybody enjoyed my personal take, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of the month, and I hope everybody enjoys Resident Evil 9. That is going to be my game for the week. So catch you guys later. Later.